Hello and welcome to LSJ News. These are the stories in Lincoln. Lincolnshire County Council have paid out almost £1.5 million to drivers to compensate them because of potholes.
It's 100 years to the day since women got the vote, but who is your most inspirational woman?
So Lincoln City have the chance to get to Wembley for the first time in their 133-year history.
And Chelsea stand in the way of Danny Cowley's men tonight as Lincoln City reveal they made a profit thanks to their FA Cup run last season.
All that and more coming up on LSJ News.
Lincolnshire County Council have paid out almost £1.5 million in compensation because of potholes. The figures were obtained by a Freedom of Information request by LSJ News. Martina Verha explains.
Between January 2012 and October 2017, Lincolnshire County Council say they received reports of over 23,000 potholes in the county. This was through the call centres. This resulted in around 4,500 claims being made by drivers in the county, of which over 1,200 was in the Lincoln area alone. The biggest single payout was in excess of £50,000, while the smallest was just £10. Meanwhile, in response to these figures, Lincolnshire County Council have said they repair 100,000 potholes every year and that each cost £31.30.
A lot of you have been getting in touch with your pothole stories. Nikki Johnson said that she reported 2 potholes and after being told they were fixed, it turned out only one had been.
Nicola Fielding-Raby describes potholes as wheel ruiners that cost a fortune, while Becky Beazle complained that the council would not let them claim compensation for the damage it caused to their car as they hadn't previously reported the damage. We haven't got anyone from the council to respond to these comments.
Commuters in Lincoln are spending 36 hours a year stuck in traffic, according to new research. The stats come from the transport data company INRIX, and it shows that drivers in Lincoln sit 3rd in the UK list, level with Birmingham and below London and Manchester. Lincolnshire Road Safety Partnerships say that those stats could be inaccurate because of the size and population of the city.
Lincolnshire County Council has confirmed that they won't be hit by charges for the collapse of Carillion. Some local authorities might be charged by an average of 20% in costs for the cancellation of contracts with Carillion, which was the UK's second largest construction firm. Today, the former chief executive, Keith Cochrane, apologised in Parliament for the collapse of the company.
It's 100 years since women were first given the vote. The suffragette movement began in the late 19th century and changed British politics forever.
And I feel lucky to be born in the late 80s, not the late 1800s. I think feminism now is about making sure that all women of all backgrounds, race, class, ability, sexual orientation, have equal opportunities economically, socially and politically to the most privileged in society.
Lincolnshire has seen many prominent women over the years, including former Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, who was from Grantham.
Voting to me, I obviously get a voice in what I could say happens. I can vote, say who gets elected and what doesn't.
Women, we have to go through quite a lot of things, like say in the NHS, we have children, everyone have children, etc., etc. And I think without the vote, we wouldn't be able to pick how we chose to live our lives.
That's an attribute that I love to see in women, being fearless.
The new Chancellor of Lincoln Cathedral wants to connect with people outside the church to build a better society. Reverend Dr. Paul Overend was sworn into his role at Lincoln Cathedral on Saturday, along with 9 new canon priests. Annabelle Alston has more.
Back in November, it was announced that Reverend Dr. Paul Overend was going to be taking over the role of Cathedral Chancellor. The role of the Chancellor involves leading the Cathedral's work of public theology and Christian education. Unlike the previous Chancellor, who split his time between the Cathedral and the University of Lincoln, Reverend Overend will spend all his time at the Cathedral with the aim of engaging the wider community.
I would especially like to connect with those outside the life of the church here. Not not in order to bring them in. That's not our primary aim, I think, but in order to help share together in building a better society.
The installation ceremony also welcomed 9 new canons to the cathedral. They were given their positions due to contributions they have made to the cathedral and Lincolnshire as a whole. Annabelle Alston, LSJ News.
Lincolnshire Police are supporting Safer Internet Day. The worldwide campaign aims to raise awareness of online safety issues. Emily Jackson has this report.
Online trolling, hacking and phishing emails are all examples of the dangers of the internet. However, they're all dangers that can be avoided.
I think the key is to know what you're willing to share and what you're willing to put out on the internet. And the easiest way to think of it is if you're kind of printing the information and just handing it out. So if you wouldn't write it down and give it out to someone randomly, you shouldn't put it online.
Internet Safety Day is aimed at people of all ages to encourage an understanding of their online presence. The educational campaign is encouraging people to tighten up their social media settings to avoid being victims of fraud.
Internet Safety Day is brilliant. I think anything that people can do to raise awareness and point to places where people can get good advice on what to do has got to be a good thing. The National Centre for Cybersecurity, the NCSC, which is a part of GCHQ, has got a brilliant website for small businesses with kind of really simple advice to protect the small business, which is great.
People can get involved with the day by tweeting their pledges. For example, they could pledge to set up parental controls or be kind and respectful to others online. Emily Jackson, LSJ News.
And in sport, Lincoln City are in action tonight in the Checkatrade Trophy semi-final. A trip to Wembley awaits the winners of the game between the Imps and the Chelsea under-21s. Our reporter Ollie Collins went down to Sincil Bank.
So Lincoln City have the chance to get to Wembley for the first time in their 133-year history. The Imps manager Danny Cowley has failed on 4 separate occasions to get to Wembley in the past, twice with Lincoln City, once with Corby Town and once with Braintree Town as well. And I'm sure that the Imps boss is expecting a tough encounter with the Chelsea under-21s.
It's going to be a huge effort for us. We've watched 3 of their games back from the Checkatrade Trophy run, and they've got a real rhythm and flow to the way they play. It almost looks like a choreographed dance when you watch them. They've got such an understanding of each other.
Well, Lincoln City are expecting a sellout crowd here at Sincil Bank for this evening's Checkatrade Trophy semi-final. This comes obviously after last year's historic FA Cup run, where the Imps were defeated 5-0 in the quarter-finals by Arsenal, just 1 game away from Wembley. And the players will be hoping to go one better for the fans and give them a day out at Wembley.
The supporters have given us so much, and we'd like to give them a little bit back. And they thoroughly enjoyed their last trip to London at the Emirates. It was been one of my lasting memories of that day, seeing so many Lincoln City supporters taking over Covent Garden, and we'd like to give them another trip to London.
Well, the Imps fans will find out their fate against Chelsea under-21s in just a few hours' time. Behind me, Ollie Collins, LSJ News.
And the club says there are still a few tickets available for the game which you can purchase from their website. Staying with Lincoln City, the club have had their profits rise over the last year. Here to tell us why is our reporter Thomas Hoare.
Well, it's been a banner year for the Imps. Performing in the FA Cup quarter-finals but losing to Arsenal, adding 109 goals over the course of the year, it's only natural that a performance like this would make more money than usual. But commercial revenue from the FA Cup made £2 million from t-shirts, sponsorships and other merchandise. Also £700,000 was raised from match broadcasts. This means the Imps profited from about £1.3 million before tax break, going straight into the Sincil Bank account.
And what can they do with that money?
Well, first of all, we're going into clearing a debt with the Cooperative Bank. They've had this for a few years now, going on hundreds of thousands of pounds. It could also mean they could double expenditure salaries, and bonuses could be given after such a great performance over the last year.
Thank you, Tom.
and frosty start to the week. Now for your weather with Tally Colborne.
As you can see, it's quite chilly at the moment and there's potential for it to snow this evening. Overnight temperatures could drop to below 0 degrees at around temperatures feeling like -3. Tomorrow is going to be much of the same with temperatures throughout the day of around 2 degrees. Still need our coats at the moment, but hopefully towards the end of the week it should warm up a little bit more.
That's all for now. Have a good evening.